In the Lucky finale, the biggest twist isn't who gets the money, it's what Lucky decides to do with it. After spending her entire life caught between John's cons, Carrie's secrets, Priscilla's criminal world, and Wayne Whitaker's obsession with control, Lucky finally realizes that the only way to become free is to stop playing everyone else's game. The finale sets up a carefully planned FBI operation. Lucky is wired for sound and sent to meet Wayne Whitaker, with the goal of getting him to admit that he knew about the gas scam and profited from it. But Lucky quickly realizes that something is wrong. Wayne knows far too much about the FBI's plan. He already knows that Carrie converted his stolen $10 million into cryptocurrency. And Lucky realizes that he couldn't have known those details unless someone inside the FBI betrayed them. The traitor turns out to be Agent Kershaw. Kershaw isn't being blackmailed or forced to cooperate with Wayne. He admits that he chose to betray the FBI because he believes the system is broken and that he might as well make money from it. But Lucky already figured out the betrayal. What looks like a straightforward sting operation becomes a battle of competing bluffs, with Lucky realizing that Rand is her ally while Kershaw is Wayne's. Lucky reveals that Carrie's $10 million isn't sitting somewhere waiting to be collected. It's been converted into cryptocurrency. The only way to access it is through a seed phrase, and Lucky claims that the phrase exists only in her head. Wayne threatens her and demands the information, but Lucky understands that the seed phrase is the only thing keeping her alive. If Wayne kills her, he loses access to the money. Then the situation becomes even more dangerous when Wayne reveals that he has John as a hostage. Lucky is forced to choose between her own life and her father's. But John refuses to let Lucky sacrifice herself for him. He even tells Wayne to kill him, rather than allow Lucky to give up the money. Wayne uses the moment to make a point that cuts deeper than any threat. Lucky spent her entire life being used by her father, and unfortunately there is truth in that. The person who changes the outcome is Priscilla. Wayne orders her to kill Lucky as proof that she truly returned to his side. Instead, Priscilla turns the gun on Wayne. She shoots him, finally confronting the man she believes failed their son, Carrie. Priscilla blames Wayne for what happened to Carrie. In her eyes, if Wayne was a father to his son, instead of emotionally abandoning him, much of the tragedy that followed might never have happened. Wayne's obsession with money and control destroys him, and Priscilla is the one who ends it. Dutch also helps eliminate Wayne's men, while Rand takes down Kershaw after their confrontation. The corrupt FBI agent's betrayal is exposed, and Wayne's operation finally collapses. After Wayne's death, Priscilla has the opportunity to end Lucky and John. Instead, she lets them leave. Lucky asks her to give them a chance, and Priscilla explains that she isn't doing it for her. She believes Carrie would have wanted Lucky to have the money, but Priscilla has one condition. She never wants to see Lucky or John again. It's a fitting ending for Priscilla because she's finally breaking away from the cycle of manipulation that connected her to Wayne, Carrie, and John. However, Priscilla still has consequences to face. Rand later confronts her and makes it clear that Priscilla's actions contributed to the death of Rand's partner. Priscilla argues that she didn't personally pull the trigger, but Rand reminds her that causing someone's death still carries responsibility. So while Priscilla escapes Wayne's control, she doesn't escape the consequences of her choices. After surviving the confrontation, Lucky and John have a rare moment where they can actually talk as father and daughter. John is impressed that Lucky figured out Kershaw's betrayal. She explains that she worked it out in La Jolla, because Priscilla couldn't have known where they were unless someone inside the FBI had given her the information. But Lucky wasn't completely certain. She simply took a gamble and it worked. Their conversation initially feels almost like a normal father-daughter relationship. John remembers small details about Lucky's childhood, including her changing tastes and the ridiculous names he used to give the tangles in her hair. Then he tells her about a recurring dream he had in prison. In the dream, Lucky is a newborn wrapped in his prison sheets. He picks her up, holds her against his chest, and walks toward the prison door. The guard sees the baby and lets them out. For John, the dream represents his desire to escape prison with his daughter and protect her. But Lucky has a very different recurring dream. She dreams that she's underwater and can't breathe. John interprets it as a fear of running out of time, but the dream has a deeper meaning. Lucky spent her entire life feeling trapped by the schemes and expectations of the people around her. She's constantly been thrown into dangerous situations and expected to survive them. And now she's finally ready to stop. John asks Lucky what she wants to do now that they're free and have access to the fortune. Her answer surprises him. She doesn't want the money. After everything Lucky endured to protect the cryptocurrency, she realizes that the money itself represents everything she wants to leave behind. It represents Carrie's theft, Wayne's obsession, John's cons, Priscilla's criminal world, and the constant danger that followed her. Lucky doesn't want to spend the rest of her life protecting a fortune that already destroyed so many lives. But she hasn't actually forgotten where the seed phrase is. How did Lucky get the seed phrase? The answer is hidden inside Carrie's teddy bear. Lucky plays the recording made by Carrie stored inside it, which are the words that make up the seed phrase. Carrie hid the information in something personal, meaning that the money was effectively protected by a memory of him. The finale then reveals the memory that changes everything for Lucky. She remembers an incident from her childhood when John used her as part of one of his scams. Lucky couldn't swim. John nevertheless put her into a situation where she was in danger because he planned to use the apparent rescue to manipulate the people involved. The con depended on something horrifying. Lucky really was drowning. John was willing to risk his daughter's life because he believed the scam would work. That realization forces Lucky to confront the contradiction at the center of their relationship. John loves her. His dream proves that, his memories prove that, but he's also incapable of stopping himself from manipulating people when there is something to gain. Even his love for Lucky existed alongside his willingness to use her, and Lucky finally refuses to accept that anymore. The next morning, John betrays Lucky one last time. He takes the teddy bear, thinking it still contains Carrie's recording, and secretly leaves with it. Believing the bear holds the seed phrase, John plays the recording, expecting to finally get access to the $10 million. Instead, he hears Lucky's voice. She has anticipated exactly what he would do and recorded a message for him, explaining that she now understands exactly who he is. He's always working on angle, always planning the next con, always looking for a way to turn a situation to his advantage, and she doesn't want to live that way anymore. So Lucky makes the hardest decision of her life. She tells John she's not giving him the money, but she gives him something else, his freedom. Lucky refuses to continue participating in John's schemes, but she also refuses to destroy him. She simply walks away. She tells him that she loves him, but that he'll never see her again. And John is devastated. For perhaps the first time, there is no scheme he can pull to get Lucky back. She made her choice. Lucky sends the cryptocurrency information to Agent Rand. Rand arrives at work and finds a package waiting for her. Inside is a laptop containing the crypto account and a piece of paper with the seed phrase, so Lucky doesn't keep the fortune. She doesn't give it to John. She doesn't allow Wayne's legacy to continue. Instead, she puts the money into the hands of the authorities. It's the final rejection of the world she grew up in. The most important part of the finale isn't the fate of the $10 million. It's Lucky's decision to stop being a pawn. Throughout the story, Lucky has been surrounded by people who believe they know what's best for her. John uses her in his schemes. Wayne tries to control her through the money. Priscilla is tied to Carrie's complicated history. Even the FBI operation turns her into a piece on a larger chessboard. But in the finale, Lucky finally makes the decision entirely for herself. She doesn't choose the money, she doesn't choose another con, she chooses freedom. Her recurring underwater dream makes that especially meaningful. For most of her life, Lucky has been struggling to breathe while other people decide where she goes and what she does. Now she finally gets out of the water, and the final image reflects that transformation. Lucky is sitting at the beach, smiling and at peace. She has no fortune, she walked away from her father. She abandoned the criminal world that shaped her life, but for the first time her future actually belongs to her. And that's why the finale ends with Lucky finally smiling, not because she got the money, but because she finally realized that she never needed it.